Hello and welcome to the WTF1 Podcast with your brand new hosts, myself, Haydon Gullis, and we've got Amber Jones here as well, your new presenters on the channel. We're excited. We are going to be getting into it today. Big podcast, lots to talk about, lots that has happened over the winter period. But Amber, are we excited to be on this channel?
Very, very excited, Haydon. We've been planning this for a while behind the scenes. Obviously, now it's come out, so it's like really exciting for us. I think we're like a little bit apprehensive as well, but it's going to be great. We've got so much good content coming up as well, so make sure you stay in tune to see what we have in store. But Haydon, I think we should introduce ourselves for anyone that doesn't know who we are.
I think we should. So for myself, I'm Haydon Gullis. I've been in the YouTube space for nearly 9 years now. God, I'm getting old, Amber. It's getting on. The grey hairs are starting to come through. Mainly from gaming and then on other channels like Veloce and then Live Fast. And now I get to jump onto the big guns of WTF1. Very excited to be here. But yeah, that's probably where you might have seen me from. Maybe a little bit of F1 esports. Had the privilege of doing that as well. And yourself?
Unlike Haydon, I've just come out of the womb, so fresh out of university. I graduated last year. We're in 2024 now, aren't we? Last year, I did media and performance, and like when I went to uni, I knew I wanted to be like a presenter, like a motorsport of some sort. I did acting as well, but I was like, no, fully F1 presenting. I remember my first day of uni as well. I was like, Formula One. That's all I spoke about, so everyone knew me as the F1 girl. And then I got my first job as an Aston Martin like webinar event presenter, which was terrifying but the best thing for me, because then my career just like flew off, and that was actually like my first paid presenting job. So that's straight up there on my CV. Then moved to a bit of pit lane reporting, different types of present as well, away from motorsport, but now it's full force. Signed to WTF1 Talent in 2023, and then from there it's just been off. So pit lane reporting was GT Cup Championship as well, and now with WTF1. It's really exciting.
Here we are. And then F1 knowledge or F1 experience. For myself, I've been sort of watching Formula One all my life. As much as I remember being a kid, sort of, you know, didn't have the attention span for it, but would always walk into the living room when my mum and dad were watching. I was a big sort of Schumacher fan. I remember that there's probably a picture somewhere. I might have to try and find it for this to go up at the same time. But of me in just this most basic red overalls, and not even like a race driver helmet. It was just kind of like a wielder's helmet, but like a plastic guard and a yellow. I think it was like yellow on the top, but yeah, so I'd sort of tune in and out as a kid, always kind of like keeping track of it slightly. And then I remember 2009, I believe it came to BBC then, and I got into it. And then Jenson Button was the one at the top, so he's always been like my all-time favorite driver. And then from 2011, since then, it's just been like religiously, like 2009, 2010, tuning in and out when I can, but 2011, rarely missed a Grand Prix, and just been on it since then.
Again, fresh out the womb for me, because I came into the sport, I think it was 2018, so when Charles was in Sauber, and my dad again used to watch it like all the time, and it was actually like a running joke in my house. He'd be like, oh, Dad's watching the F1. Oh, like me and my sister would be like, oh my, he's watching the F1, because we'd ask him to pick us up from like anywhere. We'd be out on a Sunday. Hi Dad, can you pick us up? No, I'm watching the F1. So I didn't like F1 because of that reason for a while. And then I loved like go-karting. And then my dad told me, you know, obviously a lot of the drivers do karting first and move their way up to F1. Something clicked. I actually clicked like when I was younger, but then it fully clicked when it got to 2018 and my dad was watching it. I think it was like Baku or something. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Drive to Survive had already been out, so I straight went to Drive to Survive, watched it on Netflix, but there wasn't a lot of hype around then. Yeah. Since then, massive fan. Bring back Grosjean, that's all I'm going to say.
Big fan of Grosjean.
Yes.
Who are your current drivers on the grid that you're currently rooting for? So obviously Grosjean's not there, sadly. You can watch a little bit for that, for still some like Grosjean content, but F1 drivers, who are we picking?
Everyone asks me this and everyone gets angry with my answers because I am like a McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin,
just all the teams.
And Ferrari
Alpine and Ferrari and Red Bull. And
so like if I had top 3 drivers would be Charles, Hamilton, and who can I go for my last one? Because I do like too many. No. I'm going to keep it as that.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton.
So I am British through and through, but no one's ever taken my heart quite like Jenson Button. I'm not that much of a driver fan like I was Jenson Button, nor a team fan. I just love all the teams. I don't think there's a specific team that has my heart. But yeah, British through and through. So I'm always going to be rooting for Lando, George, Lewis, for those 3. But, you know, I kind of like the underdog, not necessarily the underdog, but I like to root for somebody who has a lot of hate, and I feel like it's undeserved. So Lance Stroll, he's got a little bit of my heart as well. And of course, I've had the privilege of doing some amazing stuff and getting to know Zhou after the last few years. So he's always got to be my top dog.
You have to say Zhou. You can't be like, oh, not
I mean,
Zhou.
when you have the privilege, I'm in a very privileged position to have met him and hung out with him. And when you do have that, you get in that position and you get to know these people and realize that they're just normal people and they have these likes and dislikes. And, you know, he's just there playing the F1 game and you can't help but be like, do you know what? This is a really sound guy. And he's my number one through and through. But that's enough about us two. Okay, let's get into some F1 topic and the breaking news over the winter period. Obviously, winter is kind of a bit of a boring time, but there's always little inklings of news going on. And we're going to be looking into that throughout this podcast. We're also going to be telling you what's coming up later on the WTF1 channel throughout the rest of the week. We've got hot takes coming up as well at the end of the podcast too. So let's get into the first bit of breaking news.
Yeah.
Gunther Steiner, he has left Haas. He's been kicked out. Your thoughts there on Gunther Steiner? Because for me,
go on, Haydon.
I love him, and I think he is, you know, a star, a drive to survive star. But is he a good team principal? I don't know. I don't think so. And I think for me, it's the right decision.
I'm literally in two minds with Steiner because I agree with what you're saying. I think if he was like obviously a fab team principal, would he have got the boot? Would the team kind of be where they are now? But at the same time, it doesn't all fall onto the team principal. That's why I'm like, I don't know. Obviously, there's stuff going on behind the scenes. It's the drivers as well. It's the car itself. So I'm like...
But the team principal hires those people. So it always is going to come from the top down. If you want to change things, you've got to change things from the top down, surely, right?
Yeah, no, I do see what you're saying. I just think they kind of... Okay, if you're going to get rid of Steiner, you need to get rid of everyone. You need to just stop the whole team. And you know what I would suggest?
Haas as well, is he going?
Oh,
New team?
He's a goner.
What's it called?
He's changing the name.
Amber Jones Racing?
That's exactly what it is. And it's Roman Grosjean and someone else I've not thought of yet. I'll add someone else later. No,
just doesn't matter. Just need the one driver. Why don't you drive?
Myself.
Give yourself a go.
Haydon, we're on the same wavelength. With Steiner, like, I don't think it's the correct decision right now. I think maybe later on, I don't have any information to back up why I have that opinion, but I just think give him a bit more time. There's lots of changes going on, and then, you know, you give him 2 years. If he doesn't do it in 2 years, you say, okay, see you later, we're changing.
The things, would you then say that he's already had too much time? Because he's been there since the team started in 2016.
Yeah.
You know, they've always had the same issues. They've always been really good in qualifying trim, but then in the race, the tyres get overheated, the tyre wear's too high, and they fall back down through the field. So, and, you know, points aren't won on a Saturday, and it happens every single year. So, you know, is that fundamentals with the car that they're not changing, and they need to look at the top and go, okay, we're going to bring this person in instead. They're going to lead it. I don't think we're going to see any change this season because this car is still fundamentally a Gunther Steiner team car that's been put together. So it'll be interesting to see for 2025. Then also they're probably looking ahead as well for 2026. So the new team principal coming in, they're going to be looking forward towards 2026 to be like, okay, where can we put the team? Because they had a really good 22 when the new regulations came in, but then again they've just come down to being at the bottom.
Yeah,
so do you feel like he's had too much time? Because I think so.
Has he had too much time?
He's had what? How many years is that?
It's been a few
8 years,
hasn't it, really?
8
Potentially,
years now.
But I think you can't really make that decision until you see obviously how the new team principal works. When he comes in, like, I know you're saying maybe not this year, but the following year, then we can make our decision. Is it the correct decision to get rid of Steiner?
Sitting on the fence.
I'm sitting on the fence.
I see. Okay.
I am.
All right. Well, okay. So let's move on to the next bit of news. Team name changes. We've got a couple. So Stake F1 team. That's the first one. The second one isn't officially announced. It was AlphaTauri changing their team. The rumor is it's going to be Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, but it hasn't been officially announced as of filming this podcast right now. But there was little hints of it on the Instagram page. It was their actual @tagline. So whether they heard those rumors and thought we're just going to run with it, but funny enough, I had a look today and I couldn't find their Instagram. It's gone. So they've hidden it away. They've hidden it away for this whole rebrand. So is it going to be Visa Cash App Racing Bulls? Is it going to be something else? I'm looking forward to it. But what do you think about these name changes? Because there's been a lot of stick. You've got Stake F1 team. Which
I hated it when it first came out.
I
I
like
really didn't like it. I was like, Stake, and had very strong opinions on the name.
But
now
high
I love
stakes.
it. I like
high
it.
stakes.
Yeah,
Formula
yeah.
1 is high stakes.
I think it's great with me though. Like when there's any change, it might take me a while. Like with
Yeah,
Steiner
yeah.
going, you know what I mean? There's a bit of change. I'm not happy with it. Give it a few weeks and I really won't remember, and I love whatever's going on at the minute. So Stake, I kind of like the name. I do think I like it.
I think so.
With obviously the Racing Bulls, that's another one. Like I was sat on the
You
fence
hate Racing
with.
Bulls. It's too close to
hated
Red
it.
Bulls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
And
love.
then Visa Cash App, just I think because we've not heard it as a sponsor before or the name of a team, it just
Yeah.
sounds weird.
It just sounds random, but again, it's just because it's different.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
we've been racing for a few races, are going to be like, do you know what? Love that name.
Wow. Funny you say that because I did my research. Okay,
Oh.
I had a little look at other teams over the last 30 years and their sponsors that were their official team names. And now, looking at it as a fan and looking at these team names, it never made a difference to me then. I suppose social media always things always inflated. You know, one person's opinion, but actually I agree with that. I'm going to tweet about that
Yeah.
as well. So it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But 2021, Scuderia Ferrari, obviously their normal name, Mission Winnow. Just sounds weird.
Wait.
Just
Haydon,
sounds weird.
It don't sound weird to me,
It
and do you want to know
does.
why? So I won a competition with Mission Winnow. It was
Okay.
my first ever like Grand Prix.
So it doesn't matter as long as you win.
It was Paddock Club, hospitality. Got to go in the garage with Charles and Seb. So Mission Winnow that's my favourite name. Clearly, I had the best time, and there's a picture of me in the Paddock Club hugging a huge picture of Roman Grosjean.
That's all that matters then.
Which
That's
we
all
can
that
maybe
matters. Not even the same
insert-
team, but you know that's all that
Different
matters.
teams, but yeah,
Vodafone McLaren Mercedes, which is obviously
yeah.
a phone network company, which just at the time probably if social media was bad, like what was this? Why is
Well,
it?
I think because it was relevant at the time, then it kind
Yeah,
of
well,
fits,
now you look at
isn't
it and you think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of the best liveries on the grid.
Yeah.
Like, so Visa Cash App could come with a livery that's just like,
What a name.
Whew.
What a name.
But it is a bit of a
though.
mouthful.
Yeah. You're just going to call it Racing Bulls?
we got Panasonic Toyota Racing Team,
That's
Mild 7 Renault F1 Team, which is cigarettes back in the cigarette branding days.
Yeah.
Lucky Strike Honda Racing F1 Team.
Kind of like it again, you know. It seems like Steak. It's given like, ooh, lucky strike. They're going to get lucky in this race. I kinda
No,
think
that
it
sounds
fits.
bad. It's like we are a backmarker team and we need to get lucky
Lucky
to get some
strike.
results. So let's get a lucky strike this
Okay,
week.
maybe not lucky strike.
Trust Minardi Cosworth.
No.
They clearly trusted them because Minardi finished last, so
Oh,
put the trust in the wrong place there.
so not that name.
Orange Arrows, which made the car then orange. So just in case you were confused which car was the arrows, it's the orange arrows.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. So one that also picked up that it took me a few years to scroll through to be like, oh yeah, but Red Bull. Red Bull
Bull?
is an energy drink company.
Yeah.
That at the time, if social media would be about, it'd be like, why? And I think they had a lot of stick in the paddock when they first made an actual team to be like, why is this energy drinks company being a race car?
Yeah.
But
I
now-
did think at the time it would be like so different. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can't imagine F1
No,
without Red
exactly.
Bull now. And
I mean, a
race-
few people at home might be like, that's what they want, but you know, you cannot. They've
No,
been such
it's
a fundamental
true.
part of the last 20 years.
But then it would be odd if there was a team called Rich Energy.
But there was a team called Rich Energy.
But it was Haas.
Yeah, but it was Rich Energy Haas.
But
So
it kind of fits though, but not just Rich
I think it would have
Energy.
been weirder if they were the first.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if a
that's
Monster
true.
Energy F1 team came in,
Oh,
then
I'd
I
be
think
all over that.
yeah. But if
That'd
it
be
was the
cool.
first one, you'd be like, Although Monster, I don't know.
No, I
Maybe
like
it's
that.
a bit of a better name.
I like that Monster Energy. Get rid
Yeah.
of Cash App, whatever we're going with.
Whoa.
Let's go with Monster Energy.
I like Visa Cash App, so if you want to send me instead of Amber to the races, then that's fine.
I'll be there supporting, but Monster Energy's in the back of my mind.
Speaking of Visa Cash App, another team that was named after a sort of banking card company, MasterCard Lola Formula One Racing Team. So it's been there before. It's not the first time,
Yeah, that's
but
true.
MasterCard, again, it's just another one that's just like, you look at it, think a bit weird. My favourite, Nokia, Tyrrell, Yamaha. That car was rock solid. Any incidents, the other car is coming off worse, I'm sure of it.
No, I like that name, to be fair. But that's what I mean. You see all these odd names in Formula One. Just if you haven't been watching the sport for so long, I think now these name changes are like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Maybe people that came in from Drive to Survive are thinking, what? This is mental. But you go through the history and there's weird names all over the grid.
And we got some more breaking news to talk about. Spain. They are going to have a different circuit for Formula One in the future. We're going to go to Madrid for a street circuit. I don't like it. I hate street circuits. There's too many on the calendar. But what are your thoughts?
See, a lot of people don't like street circuits, and I understand it, obviously, because like less overtaking, they're very small, it's a tight track. But I don't know, because obviously I love the Spanish Grand Prix as it is now. So it's like, if they could keep the one we've got now and also add Madrid, then I would be all over that. Like, I love that because I love Spain. So that's just me
More trips to
infusing.
Spain.
Yeah, if I can go to Spain all the time, I'll take it. But it would be sad to see like an actual racing track go for a street circuit. Like, in that sense, I fully understand people's frustration with that. Oh, I'm too on the fence recently, aren't I? I think, again...
Give us an opinion.
I know,
Come
I need
on.
to give you a real opinion. To be honest, no, that's what it is. If they get rid of, obviously, Barcelona, then I don't want it. But if they keep both the Spanish tracks, then I'm happy with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Spain, they got rid of this horrible chicane. It was not a good idea to put that in, but it made the track a lot better. And I think it made the racing better over the last... 2022, I think, was a good race, and so was 2023. So better the races than what we've had previously with the chicane. To then get rid of that, and then the street circuit, I mean, I'm looking at what is a provisional track map that I've got in front of me right now. And look, street circuits can work. Monaco is unique, and that's why I like it, because it's a great qualifying circuit. It's maybe not the best racing, it's the worst racing circuit, let's be honest. The cars are too big for it. But as a qualifying circuit, watching a car sector free, watching a car through there, it's just beautiful. Like, it's amazing. Then you go to Baku, and I know some people like Baku, but Baku is only good as a race if we have a crash. Be there. I'm looking at it as well. It's like little weird chicanes round a roundabout, and it's like, I don't know. I might be wrong. Vegas, I didn't like the track there.
Yeah.
Okay, it was more the track being cold that made it exciting, but it was an exciting race. So I could be proved wrong. But my initial opinion, I could be.
I think you might be, because...
I'm still going to be in this...
Well, because with Monaco, obviously, some people like it for different reasons. Like, the reason why it's one of my favourite tracks is because it's all about driver craft, driver mentality, who's more ruthless than the other person. So that's why I love those types of tracks, because I'm like, right, who's got, you know... the cojones to overtake, because you really can't overtake. There's so many like little overtaking opportunities. So that's why sometimes I do like street circuits. But we'll see with this one, because if we do have to lose, obviously, like a really great circuit, then I won't like it. Yeah,
it needs to be a good street circuit. Like, I know the Jeddah street circuit, it's not the best place for... I know there's a lot of controversy about where it is, but as a track, now they've extended the walls out a little bit to make it a bit safer and not as blind. It flows, and you know, I drive a lot of these on the game and on the sim. Like, okay, it's not the same thing. You don't experience the G-forces, and I'm not talking as a racing driver, but the experience of driving those tracks over like a Baku or a Miami, and people at home who play the game will also experience that a track like Jeddah is a lot better than a track like a Baku. So, yeah, I mean, there's some nice sort of flowy corners here, but it's also depending on, you know, how much grip is that circuit going to have as a street circuit, because then you have flowy corners with no grip. It's like they're basically just slow speed corners, and Formula One cars are not made for slow speed corners. They're made for like a Mugello, like a track like that. When we went there, that was just incredible to watch an onboard lap of a car.
I mean, I guess then it's like all the other conditions that will come into play. You know what I mean? Like, what's the weather going to be like? If it's Spain, is it going to be quite hot? But they do get rain in Madrid. When I went in Madrid, I mean, maybe not that time of year, but when I went, it was raining and I was fuming. So, and like with Monaco, sometimes it's a super wet race or sometimes it's quite a warm race. So
I didn't get rain, but what I did get was my phone stolen. So I will not be taking my phone to Madrid. I'm going to be unreachable if I ever go to a Madrid race.
But where was your phone? Was it in
It was in my pocket. Yeah, someone was kicking my leg. I was maybe had one or two many drinks. But somebody came up to me, said hello. I'm a friendly person. Somebody says hello to me.
Haydon.
I'm going to say hello back. He shook my hand and he was like kicking my leg. I was like, what are you doing? Clearly, he was kicking my leg to make it like vibrate, so I wouldn't feel that he put his hand in my pocket, taking my phone.
And then he snatched the phone.
And it was only after I went down the road a little bit that I realised, and I was like, oh, well, that's
There's
gone.
your phone.
That's too late.
Needs to be more street smart. Come on, you live down south. You should know this.
What do you mean down south?
And
I
moving
I
on.
live in a very safe area.
No, now living in London or like moving to London, I do walk literally with my phone covering like my pockets. My phone's in my hands, like just in case.
I haven't changed. I still say hello to everybody. It's probably really, really
still
bad.
say
But
hello.
yeah, anyone wants to steal my phone, please don't.
Okay, Haydon, I think we should chat about liveries.
Liveries.
But
Ooh.
in particular, McLaren.
Yeah.
That was
They
a
came
bit of a random livery reveal, but I kind of see what they were doing with it. I think, right, McLaren have got like trends and like the younger generation on point. I think they know what they're doing. How can we get people talking about our car reveal? Let's just reveal it before we even do the car reveal.
Let's not bother building this up and do a really boring, long talk for ages that takes half an hour to be like, here's a show car. It was literally just like, bam, livery. It was kind of a bit weird because they did this like Instagram, gonna hide every post that we've done.
Wipe out.
Yeah, and then do this like, change is coming. Like, it teed it up like, oh wow, because obviously they've got the Monster Energy sponsorship that was announced, the partnership that they've got. So it made it feel like, oh my God, maybe there's going to be like a brand new livery tailored for them. But it was just like, bam, no, here's livery talk. I actually really, really like it. They've got rid of the blue, which looking at it now, I didn't think I had a big problem with the blue. But now seeing it without the blue, I now realise that's why I didn't like the McLaren of previous years.
Because of the blue?
Because of the blue, yeah. Only because I'm seeing it now without the blue.
Yeah, now
I'm
you're
seeing just the black and
realising.
orange.
I always
I'm
liked
like,
the
this
blue.
looks really good.
Really? I mean, I was shocked, obviously, when I saw it, though. I was like, has it changed that much? Because it looks so similar, and it's quite a dark photo as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you look at it, like you say, like they're taking out things from it. But I liked it. I think everyone loved it, though. I was looking all over like Instagram and stuff, and everyone loves that livery. So I even obviously showed my boyfriend, and he does not really take much interest into Formula One. He was like, that's a sexy car. So the general consensus is it's a nice car, but I still think they're going to do something different on the car reveal. I think they've just teed it up so much, and they're going to surprise us with
teased us,
something.
have they?
They're
have. Like, here's this car.
Yes.
Surprise
And
on the
then
14th. Here's a
there's
brand new
something
one.
completely different. I
mean,
think they will.
That can happen in all fairness because, I mean, it'd be a bit weird for them just to announce it because there was no need for them just to drop the car.
Yeah.
But it means that they're the only team that people are talking about in the off-season part.
Yeah.
And sponsorships have certain dates that they start and other sponsorships have dates that they end. So you could be right there that on the 14th we could get a different car. I think you're wrong. I think it's just too random for them to be like, here's a car. But here's a different car on the 14th.
April Fools.
But
it's not.
Also, if you are right, it's very, very smart because then, maybe you are right.
No, I just think there'll be like a little tweak. It'll just be something because, like, you built up all this hype, and then it's gonna go, here's the same car. I just don't see the logic in that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is that, but I just think they'll do something, or like maybe get like a really cool special guest, or I don't know. I think they're planning for something bigger.
Okay, because it's an official car reveal on the 14th, whereas this is just livery.
Yeah.
This is concept car.
Yeah.
So that one will be the official car.
But full on. I think there'll be something different. I don't know what, but something.
What are your thoughts? Where's your ranking? So out of 10, what are we giving it for McLaren so far? Based on that livery, if it stays there like that.
Well, in relation to like, do I think the other cars are going to be super different from like last year livery wise?
I don't care about that. I want to know. Bam, straight in. No thinking about it. Initial reaction. I am giving it this ranking out of 10.
I'm too analytical for these things.
No, stop sitting on the fence.
Okay,
give me a number.
Quick fire.
Give me a number.
Fire. I'm going to go with a 8.5.
8. Why are we going for points now? Come on. Stop sitting on the fence. It's either an 8 or a 9.
No,
Which one are we
going
going
because
for?
I'm giving that wiggle room for like someone else.
I'm telling you now. No, sit on the fence. 8 or a 9. Which one are we going for?
It's got to be... Oh, gosh, I feel like I'm on countdown. I can hear the... I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay, 9.
It's normally one of my fave liveries, to be fair, and I love the chrome wheels.
Yes. I'm going to join you on a 9 as well. Yeah, I'm going to join you on a 9.
After that, Haydon.
Yeah, it's honestly, I looked at it and I was like, damn, that looks good.
It is a nice car.
Why is it not a 10? Not enough colour for me. It needs just a little bit more orange to really stand out on the grid, which is just what the shame that we're getting at the moment with the very heavy cars and the weight saving that they're having to do right now.
My favourite one is the Gulf McLaren livery.
Yep.
That's my favourite one, so it'll never be a 10. That's
It'll
a 10.
Never be a 10. Unless they bring back, well, they won't, because what if Williams do a livery that's similar like that? I mean, we can talk about now, get on to the next lot, because Williams are one of the first teams launching on the 5th.
Yeah, they are on the 5th of Feb. But they wouldn't do orange and
But if they're sponsored by Golf, if it's Golf Williams, then they could be the Golf colours, which is orange and blue.
Orange and blue. Oh, well, I guess so.
Because they did a livery like that, didn't they? In
Yeah.
Japan, Singapore, I think it was Qatar as well, or maybe it was
Something.
after, yeah.
I think if they do that, then maybe Williams. I've still not forgiven them, though, for the toothpaste livery that they had for a while.
That was so long ago.
I know, I just
Which one was
can't.
it? Was it the just the blue and white one, or
It was
when they
like-
had that livery that was red, white, and blue, but it didn't actually run because the sponsorship ended during COVID, and
Maybe
they
it was
never actually ran the
Blessing.
livery.
Maybe it was Blessing. No, it's the light blue.
The light,
Yeah,
that was a
like
terrible.
Colgate
That
or
was
something.
such a bad livery.
I just think, obviously, on the drivers as well, the racing suits just
They were
just wasn't a
clearly
vibe.
cutting the budget and were just like, they went down to a school, down to a nursery.
Yeah.
Can you just draw on this car for us? Bam.
Exactly that.
To be fair, that's good drawing from a child. Right,
Better
so
than
yes,
yours.
we've got upcoming team launches. Stake and Williams first.
Yep.
They're on
Feb.
the 5th. Williams, yeah, we've said they could come out with a golf livery, golf sponsorship. I'd love that, but if they're just Williams, no big lead title sponsor, then I think they can still put together a good car. The Williams has kind of grown on me over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I agree, to be fair. Like, I think their liveries and things are actually quite nice, but they're never one of my favourites, though, Haydon. They're never really up there.
Poor
I can
Williams.
appreciate them. But actually, side note, my favourite, which I kind of already mentioned, is the Rich Energy Haas
The Rich
livery.
Energy Haas.
That beautiful, the black and the gold.
Black and gold always goes well with people.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love
Lotus
it.
back in the day. Whew, very, very. And
Exactly.
even the Lotus from like 2013, which Roman Grosjean drove a black and gold
Well, would you
Lotus
look at
and a
that?
black and gold Rich Energy. Get
Would
Grosjean
you
back
look
in
at
and we'll
that?
get a black and gold livery car.
You said it first.
Stake, what are they going to do? They're very much pushing on their socials a neon green,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of like. I mean, it does mean that we're going to have two green cars on the grid,
Yep.
but they're different. I mean, Aston Martin's like a dark British racing green.
Mm-hmm.
Stake are going to be that bright pop colour, which is what I like. I like 2019, I think it was like one of the best seasons for liveries because every team had a different colour palette. And now it's a bit too much weight saving, and we're just going to
Yeah.
carbon out the livery and just a little bit of colour here
Yeah.
to tell which car's what. But yeah, they go neon green. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it must be great. I mean, we were chatting about this like off air, weren't we? There, we were like, I think it was a few weeks ago actually, that they are going to do the green colour for the car, and if they don't, they've thrown us all off as well. Maybe they're just like putting that green out, but it's going to be like elements
Yeah.
of green on the car. But yeah, if it's that neon green, I think stunning car.
There'll be bits of neon green, I'm sure,
Yeah,
because
it's got to
their
be.
streaming platform Kick is those colours.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's going to be some bright neon green somewhere. Then we've got Alpine, 7th Feb. Now they're teasing their car for little bits of pink, and I hope it's fully pink
I
because
hope there's
we need a
pink.
full pink livery car on the grid. They do it a few times during the season for BWT, but it's like pink camo, which they've sort of posted pictures of their rear wing and little bits of their front wing. So I hope, because sometimes with liveries, people just do the front wings at colour and the rear wings a separate colour, and the rest of the car could be blue, which is going to let me down. It's going to
So you
tease
want
me up
full
and then let me down.
pink,
Full
on.
pink.
But what shade of pink are you going for?
Oh, just
Like
bright
the
baby pink,
standard
like
pink with the
Racing Point
BWT?
pink that they had. I mean, very,
Yes.
very much BWT, which is
You were
obviously
like
the
happy
title
with
sponsor.
that pink?
Yeah, I generally really liked it. It stands out from the other cars.
Yeah.
It's a separate livery from everybody else. I mean, the Alpine still has a beautiful livery.
Yeah.
I think the blue stands out and it pops really,
It's a
really well
nice
too.
combo though, having like the blue and the pink. I think, yeah, it's my favourite livery. I've got too many favourite liveries, but it was the Racing Point as well for a long, long time. It just stands out. It's different, you know what I mean? It's not glossy. It's just this gorgeous, bright
Yeah.
pink coloured F1 car that most people probably wouldn't imagine they'd see on the grid. So if it stays like that, I'm happy with that car.
And then we get into a busy few days of liveries and
Yes.
car reveals. Aston Martin, 12th of Feb. Ferrari, 13th of Feb. McLaren and Mercedes taking over Valentine's Day.
On my
Sorry,
birthday, how dare they?
Stop trying to steal Valentine's Day, all right? Stop trying to make
It's
every day
my
about you.
day.
You want 2 days about you.
It's actually a birth month. But yeah,
Yeah,
we have
you do that a lot.
Mercedes, McLaren, and then Red Bull 15th.
Yep. So busy 4 days. Aston Martin, I assume, just going to be same livery.
Yeah.
Ferrari, red. I mean, I think they made it worse than the 22 livery, just having that little bit of extra carbon
Yeah.
to have that sponsor. But I liked the Vegas livery when they made the additional white on the car, so hopefully they go more towards that. We've already seen a McLaren. Mercedes, black or silver. What are you going for?
It depends though, because I think they want to hit back with like, oh, you know, we're going to improve this year, we're going to change. So if they're going to go on this vibe, then why not change the car again?
Just back and forth.
Silver, exactly. Go back to that like Cybermen look, you know. If I had to pick though, I'd love the black. I think the black looks a lot better than the silver. But you know, if they want to rebrand and come back and maybe have Hamilton go for the championship again, then go back to silver.
I am saying silver, but I think they're probably going to go black for the weight saving. I want the silver though, because they're the Silver Arrows. They should be silver.
True.
Like that's their name. That's their nickname. I also am a big fan of the white circles and the red for the numbers from the classic Mercedes days that they ran also from like 2010 onwards until I think they stopped around maybe like 2014 or maybe a little bit after that. But that's what I want. Silver car, but with weight saving, it's just going to be a carbon car like last year with like a little bit of black paint on it to kind of tick that box. And then Red Bull, are they going to change the livery? Because I'm pretty sure their livery's been the same since 2016. I mean, it's a beautiful livery. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But, you know, I like new things.
That's the thing, like, because then sometimes I think the car launches, like, they're exciting. But if you know the car's going to look the same, you're like,
yeah, you've waited 30 minutes of some people pretending to enjoy the sport because they've just been invited there and they're just waffling.
Yeah.
And then you just get the same car revealed, then you're like, okay,
that's why I'm never
that's
excited
30 minutes
for
of my
Red
life
Bull.
I'm not getting back.
Exactly. Like, unless obviously there's something really different with like the structure of the car, then great. If it's just the livery, I'm like,
what would you do? You're in charge.
Oh gosh.
They put you in charge of the livery, of the car reveal. What is your big grand plan to get everyone excited?
Do you know what? I think I'd make it look as close to a Red Bull can as possible. I'd make it glossy and I'd put some like, this is really not great for like the weight though, but I'd put
that
some
has been
like
done before.
some dents in it or something.
Whoa, some
you know
dents
what I mean?
in it as
No,
well.
but fake ones. I'd put something in it just to make it stand out. Do you know what I mean? It's a championship winning car.
It's a championship winning car,
That
so let's
looks
make it look
the
like
same.
a dented Red Bull can.
Just do something or make it glossy. I think I don't like the matte look.
Still the silver from the Silver Arrows and then go and win in their livery, basically. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, if I was in charge, because you answered the livery, not the question that I wanted you to answer, but I will take over now and say what I would do if I was in charge of a livery reveal. Just not even announce it, just drive it around the streets of London or Paris, just a main city, and everyone's like, what the hell? Why is there an F1 car? Obviously, it'll be escorted and won't be driving it like crazy. Seatbelts on, of course, as well. But then everyone's filming it, be like, oh my God, what's this? It's all over social media. It's everywhere. F1 teams, if you're looking for
that for. There was something that they did where they drove the F1 car through the factory.
Yes, yeah, that was cool.
Something like that, you know, just something a little bit different.
London. Take it out, get out of the
just
factory,
put it somewhere.
drive it everywhere.
Exactly. Get it on one of those like Uber boats, you know, across the Thames.
Yes,
why not? Just do something.
Yes.
Something
where was it? It was I think it was the Monza Grand Prix, and AlphaTauri, I'm pretty sure, had their car like on a. Oh no, maybe it was it was the Dutch Grand Prix. It was in the Netherlands. AlphaTauri had their car on the canals. Like, imagine that. You're in Amsterdam and it's just this Formula 1 cars going around. That would be brilliant, I think.
Because then everyone's talking about it, not just even in the F1 world and like motorsport world. Everyone's going, why is there an F1 car like on the canal?
Exactly. I personally think that'd be a really, really good idea. Right, well, that's it for the breaking news. Let's get into one of our favourite parts of the podcast now, which is hot takes of the week. And I have looked over what you guys have said to us on Twitter. And this first one is coming from @GeraldPringle. And they are saying they should do the sprint races reverse direction around the track. This would prevent the sprint from spoiling the GP.
Sorry, they should do the sprint races.
Yeah, just turn around, do it the other way around.
Yes, on the track.
I'm here for it. I'm fully here for it.
That's a spicy hot take, you know.
Anyone who has played the F1 games has done this. They have got bored on time trial or whatever. They've turned it around. They've driven. And some tracks are a lot of fun. Some tracks you cannot do this for the actual FIA grading requirement because there's not enough runoff in the other direction.
Exactly.
But maybe this is something for the future that every track that is made can be driven in both directions.
Backwards. I mean, it's definitely something that's
It's different. It's different, yeah.
Exactly.
And you don't tell the drivers till on the day. So they've lined up in what, like Max thinks he's pole position. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're going that way. They just spin the cars around. It's like, I'm last now. Now go overtake everyone.
Do you know what? If it's doable, I'd be like, yeah, why not? I think spice up F1 as much as you can. So I would never say no to something like that. But yeah, is it really doable on most of the tracks?
No, and there's a lot of ones that the runoff area just doesn't work in that direction, and that is why they haven't done it yet. But like I say, if a new track, Madrid, they want to come onto the calendar, make the track so that it has runoff areas in both directions, and then you get a sprint race as well. For a track, there's a benefit of doing that because you get the sprint race, which means you have more action over the weekend, which
drivers say about that, because I remember when Hamilton wasn't a huge fan when the sprint races came into fruition, and he was kind of like, you know, it's a lot for us on the drivers to do that. I'd like to get their reactions, you know. So if we ever see any drivers recently, I'm going to ask them that question.
Ask them that question,
what would you
for
think?
sure.
Yeah, if we did the sprint races and then reverse the track. I feel like though people like Hulkenberg or someone, you know, like someone that's a bit cheeky chappy would find that hilarious.
I think it's great. Also, data-wise, you wouldn't have the data already for how it's going to go backwards.
Yeah.
The degradation could be different because corners that were maybe high speed before are now slow speed, or corners that were slow speed before could be high speed depending on the way that corner and the nature it goes, or the corners before making a certain corner a bit more high speed.
Or like Monaco, the elevation changes are all completely
driving
backwards
downhill.
then.
Eau Rouge, you're driving down Eau Rouge and Raidillon.
Perfect.
It'd be hilarious.
That'd
but
be interesting.
You wouldn't have any data for that, so I think it's spicy. I think it's like a 4, but I agree with it.
Yeah, because like it's spicy, but it's not the spiciest thing I think that we might have coming up. So is a 3 too harsh?
You're sitting on the fence again. That's what it sounds like.
Again, sitting on the fence. And I can't do 0.5s.
No, you can't.
You're not
going to
let me get away with 0.5s.
No, you can't do 0.5s.
But it's like it's not a 3, but it's not really a 4 either. Okay, last minute 3, 2, 1. It's going to be a 4.
Okay, a 4.
Yeah. It's a little bit spicy.
I love that we just have to push you so much for a decision.
Because my brain starts taking Haydon of all the different variables.
On to the next one. This also carries on from what we've already talked about on the podcast slightly, but this comes from @Rocktans. I hope that I've said that right. F1 needs to mandate that only a small percentage of a livery can be carbon/black. The field is looking pretty dull these days, which I agree with. I think it's a spicy take because you're forcing teams to have to put on paint, which is going to weigh the car down. I mean, it's only going to weigh a little amount, but it's going to cost the team, you know, potentially a few thousandths, hundredths of a second. But in Formula One, that could be difference between pole and third in some races. So teams are going to be like, no, we don't want to do this. But if it's the same for everyone and the same area of the car is covered, then I maybe don't see why that couldn't happen.
Then I guess it's a case of like, if it could happen, why has it not already been put in place yet? So there must be a very specific reason for why they're not doing that. I think
maybe because only in the last couple of years teams have started to do this. There's been black liveries in the past, but they're fully painted out. Whereas recently from, I'd say 2022, you've had like Mercedes going pretty much full carbon. McLaren over the last few years have kind of been stripping back on the paint. Williams were doing it where they came out of the season with a livery car, and then it was like every race a little bit more paint had been taken off. So it's only a recent thing that's come up that maybe they've not really thought about or have not really cared about because they didn't think it would happen.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like, you know, if we went to the F1 bosses and FIA and stuff like that and proposed something like that to them, then I guess, but I think if it's just because it's the look of the car and it's just because of the livery, then obviously they're not really going to take that into account. It's like, do you know what? Yeah, everyone can whinge about the liveries and that. I don't think the grid's looking dull though. I wouldn't agree with that. So that's the only thing. I think the grid is quite, you know, vibrant and things like that. So I don't know about this hot take, you know, Haydon. For me,
I agree.
It's not a super spicy hot take for me.
Going low now.
I am. I'm going to go back down.
2.5, 2.6, 2.67 maybe?
I was thinking it's a 2 or a 3.
Okay, so which one is it? It's either a 2 or it's a 3.
I'm going to go with a 2.
Okay,
it's
you're
not
going to go with a 2.
spicy enough for me. Like, I want something that's really out of this world, and I think that's a chat that could have been had.
Yeah.
And I don't agree. So.
I think I'm gonna agree with you.
Oh, thank God.
And say it's a 2. I agree with the concept. I do think that liveries, especially compared to like 2019, where you had so many different colours on the grid, it is lacking a little bit. But it's not necessarily a massively spicy thing, because it could easily just happen. It could just be the FIA or whoever else is in charge. Liberty Media could just go, right, you've all got to have fully painted cars, and the whole area is the same paint, and then you're using the same type of paint, or maybe teams are innovating paint, to save money. So yeah, I like it, but I agree it's probably a bit more. You're
giving it a 2.
Yeah, I think so. Right, on to the next one. This one comes from @Inferno the Fox, and Red Bull will become the new Ferrari in 2024. In other words, they're going to implode when it comes to strategy calls. This is a big one.
Ooh.
Because I feel like Red Bull are one of the biggest and best on strategy in recent years.
That's a very spicy hot take, because I would agree as well. I think they always seem to be on the ball, whereas like we've seen in like Mercedes, Ferrari, like they always kind of get their strategies a little bit mixed up. Not so much McLaren, but at times, I guess all the teams do at times. So I wonder why that would be. Is it because the pressure's getting to them a little bit too much?
I think the other way around.
Really?
I think it could happen. It could happen over the course of the season, because when you have won everything and you've won by such a clear margin, and Max Verstappen was taking record after record after record last season, as a team you've got to try and keep everyone motivated to make sure those mistakes don't happen, because it's very much easy to kind of be like, okay, we're so far clear right now. If they come out in 2024 with a car like they had in 2023, it's very easy for them to just be like, we're good, we're chill, and just relax a little bit, and then that's maybe where mistakes come in.
Then it goes wrong.
Although Hannah is just an absolute beast when it comes to strategy, so I'm sure she's going to smash it out of the bag again in 2024.
Because I think it is the fact that like Ferrari and Mercedes want to be back to where they've been before, and that's why they're like kind of fumbling about with the strategy a little bit. They
have to take the risks, whereas I feel like, maybe you're right, Red Bull don't need to take those risks.
Because they know they're good enough. They can just stay like that. Optimum performance for them.
Yeah.
That's a very spicy hot take though. I've never actually thought of that. But it's spicy, but I don't agree with it. So here's the problem. Where do I put that on the spice level? I'm gonna put that. That's like a medium Nando's.
Okay.
Some people
so
find it very spicy.
That's spicy. That's for me.
If
that's
you're
nose is running, eyes watering. I'm sweating.
Steam's coming out the ears. Yeah, because it is a spicy one. So I'm gonna go for a 4 for that one.
4. Okay. I think it's just one of those throw in the dark. So maybe hoping that Red Bull don't do as well as next season. I think a lot of people will be hoping, or maybe saying for that, apart from if you're a Red Bull fan, you're not going to be hoping. You're going to be like, I'm loving this time period. For those fans who, want maybe something a little bit different, but I think 3. I think it's just very much medium, or lemon and herb for me. So about 3 on the spice level.
Lemon and herbs at 1 for me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, that is all of our hot takes for today. Make sure you send us in your hot takes. Get them in the comment section down below. And we might just read them out on next week's podcast, where we're going to be talking all about livery bills and stuff like that. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you, Haydon. How'd you feel the first podcast done?
We've got it done, and we are ready for a big season of Formula One. 24 races over the course of the season. It's going to be a big year for WTF1, and we look forward to bringing you all along for the ride with us, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.